Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this session, we are going to configure Postman to work with SharePoint API. So to work with SharePoint API, we must have to follow some of the prerequisites that allow us to access the resources of SharePoint through REST API. So let's look into the steps to configure Postman. So guys, to configure Postman to use the SharePoint resources through REST API, the first step we have to do the app registration. So how we will do that? That we will look into now. So let's go to the SharePoint site. So guys, to register the app to the SharePoint, we must have to visit this URL. So we need to visit layouts/15, and over here we need to tell that app reg new.aspx. So this will give us a form where we need to generate the client ID. So click on generate. Then we have to also generate the client secret. So these things we are going to use to access the SharePoint through the REST API using Postman tool. And over here we need to specify that I'm going to use with Postman, and I will tell that Postman demo. And over here I need to specify www.localhost.com, and over here we need to specify https localhost.com. So these configuration we need to specify, and then we need to click on create. This is our first step. Make sure that you have to note down all these information, because we are going to use this information when we go to Postman, as we need to specify these details inside the Postman configuration. So I'm just going to copy this one, pasting it over here. Now let's proceed further. Now we have registered our app to the SharePoint. Now we must have to authorize our app so that Postman tool will use the resources of the SharePoint using REST API. So let's do that. So to do the authorization of our app, we need to visit another URL. I'm going to make it duplicate, and over here I will tell that app inv.aspx enter. So now over here we need to specify the app ID. I will copy this one and paste it over here and do the lookup. So it will return me all the values which we have specified at the time of app registration. Now this is very important. In the permission request XML, here we need to give the access the app should have. For that we need to specify XML piece of code that you can grab it from the resource section of my course. For time being, I am going to paste it over here from my notes, and this piece of XML code we need to grab it, copy this one, and let's go back, paste it over here. So over here you will see that what we are telling through this XML app permission request, it is going to be true, and over here we are telling that the write should be full control. So that means we are giving Postman app full control to perform read and write both through the SharePoint REST API. Now I will click on create, and over here it is asking for trusted. So now we have authorized the Postman app to access the SharePoint resource. So now let's proceed further. So guys, so far we have completed step 1, step 2. Now we are into step 3. So this is going to be very important, because we wanted to grab the tenant level information and the resource information. So to do that, we need to access this particular URL that is appended with the tenant which we have created. So let's look into that, how we will do that. And this step we need to perform inside the Postman. So let's look into that, how we will grab the tenant detail as well as the resource information. So let's do it. Guys, I am inside the Postman tool, and over here first step we need to create a collection. Postman collection help us to manage our work. So over here given a name, and over here I'm going to create a new HTTP request to grab the tenant details. So how we will do that? Let's look into that. We need to click on new, and over here I need to select HTTP request, and then over here we need to specify our root site collection URL, that is HTTPS, and this is the first one. We can take it because I have already used it, and this is the URL we have to use it. In your case you can write your root site collection URL, and then you need to append _VTI_bin client.svc, and that you need to execute it. Once you mention the URL, then next you need to specify the header. For header you just mention over here authorization, and the value is going to be the bearer, and next you need to click on this send button. Once you click that, then you get this output. So guys, don't bother about this error. We have to bother about there is a drop down, or for your case you might be getting the tab. So you need to select the headers tab, and over here if you closely look into that, then there is something called www authenticate. So what this information is? So guys, this is the GUID of your tenant. So you need to copy it and then you have to paste it somewhere that we will use it later, because this particular tenant ID is going to be used in the upcoming configuration. So that is very important. Okay, so now let's proceed further. Another important thing we need to grab is this client ID. That is client ID used with the resources that I will show you in the upcoming configuration step. So for a time being, we just need to copy this configuration. So let me copy this one and then I will paste it over here. Now let's proceed further. Guys, we have completed the step 3. So far we have completed step 1, step 2 and step 3. We grabbed the tenant information as well as the resource information. Now the fourth and the final step where we need to grab the access token. So to grab the bearer access token, we have to send the HTTP request to this URL. So this is the URL which help us to get the access token. So let's do this. So let's proceed further. And over here we need to specify our tenant ID which we have grabbed in our earlier step. So I will come over here and copy this. This is my tenant ID and then I will go there and I will paste it over here. So this is the URL we need to use. Now copy this one, go back to Postman. So I'm into Postman. Make sure that you are saving your previous work, and this is for our and you should choose this collection where you want to save. Click on save. Now next request. Now we need to click on new, and here again we need to select the HTTP request, and this time it is going to be the post request, and over here we need to specify the URL which we have made, and now we need to specify the header, and over here we will specify content type, and the value we need to specify applications / -ww form URL encoded. So this we have to specify. Now next step, this is very important. We need to go inside the body, and here we need to select form data, and here we need to specify 4 values. So what are those? Let's look into that. The first key we need to specify over here is grant type, grant underscore type, and that is going to be the client underscore credentials. The second one is the client ID, client underscore ID. Third one is the client secret underscore secret. Fourth one is the resource value we are going to specify. So what is the client ID over here? Let's look into that. If you remember, we have done the app registration, and while doing the app registration we have generated the client ID. So we need to grab this, and client ID is not going to be very much straightforward. You have to make it with the tenant ID. So here it is going to be, you need to mention like this. You should copy the client ID, and over here you should specify the client ID at the rate, and that is going to be your tenant ID, and the combination of this one is the value for your client ID inside the Postman. So copy this one and paste it. Now over here you should paste it. Now next we need to grab the client secret and put it over here. So over here I come and I will copy this one and I will paste it over here. Now the last one is very important, the resource one, and it is going to be very trickier. So I will tell you how to get the value for this one. So let's look into that, how we will generate the value for this resource one. So guys, if you remember that we have grabbed this value in our previous step, and we will copy this one over here and paste it over here. Then we need to specify our root site collection URL over here, and that is going to be vvy62.sharepoint.com, and over here you need to mention that at the rate, and then you need to grab the tenant ID. And what is our tenant ID? You remember that we have also grabbed this one. I will copy this one and paste it over here. So this is going to be our resource value. Copy this one and paste it over here. Once done, make sure that you are going to save this one, and here you will tell that get access token, and over here you need to click on save. Once done, let's click on send button. Once you do that, then you will see that we got the status called 200. Okay, so that means we got the access token, and this is our access token that will help us to access the SharePoint resources, and this is what we are looking for. Make sure that you should copy this entire access token and paste it somewhere. So I will paste it over here, and this access token we are going to use in our upcoming sessions when we perform the create, read, update, delete operations on SharePoint resources. And this is what I wanted to show you in this session. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.